No more full-time job. Honestly, it's a scary position to be in. This will be my first time not having a full-time, permanent role since graduating college. So I want to share my thoughts with you, let you know how I'm approaching the situation, what I'm thinking, and take you through the documentation of exactly what's going on and how I'm handling this situation. I'm excited to recommend Vacation with the Magic for planning your next vacation. Over the years, Gordon has given me invaluable advice and recommendations for multiple Disney destinations. It costs you nothing more than it would to book a Disney trip yourself. Plus, by using his services, you can help support my channel. So click the link in the description below to get your free quote today. Hey everyone, Dave K here today to talk you through my thoughts on handling this experience that I'm heading into. It's going to be my first time without a full-time permanent job since graduating from school. I've had all this experience working different jobs. I've always had a job come through for me as I've left other jobs, but this is the first time that I've kind of been in a temporary situation like this. So I want to talk you through my thoughts of not having that permanent job right now, given the current climate, how I'm planning to approach the situation, what some of my backup options are, and some of the challenges that I need to consider. Honestly, it's a scary position to be in. I haven't really taken the time to, I guess, settle into the fact that this isn't a permanent thing, and if things go according to plan, if all is normal during the course of this contract that I'm on, that I will have no job in December. I've never been in a position like that where, with my previous jobs, yes, they've been full-time at-will employment, which means I could be let go at any point, but they've been more along the lines of, if everything goes well according to plan, then you have a job kind of until further notice, just permanently. This contract puts me in the position of, if things go as expected, as normal, I won't have a job in December. I'm only signed through December, and I've never again found myself in a situation like this. I think a big part of the reason why I'm finding myself in this position right now is due to the current climate health-wise. A lot of companies are still considering how they're going to be hiring moving forward and making sure their businesses are stable. And so hopefully the situation will resolve, but again, first time I'm finding myself in this sort of position. As I'm in this position, I think about and I realize the importance and the criticality of networking. I think networking is going to be essential in this temporary role that I have. I feel very fortunate to have the temporary role as opposed to not having a job right now where I have the opportunity to be able to do this job, to deliver this work, to make some money during this time, and to be able to build connections and relationships with people, which hopefully lead me to something longer term if things go amazingly well at the end of my current setup. Now, there's no expectations that things will go that way. That's really a hope for me, and that's not something that's been promised. I guess it's kind of like getting a promotion in a way where you say, well, I really want to work hard to get this promotion. I'm saying to myself, well, I really want to work hard to keep this going long term. So hopefully things will work out from that front, but it's just a whole different way to be worrying about things that I haven't had to deal with before. So, of course, networking is essential, and so is delivering the best possible work that I can. I always try to do the best work that I possibly can whenever I'm on a job or on a contract, but I feel it's especially crucial, especially critical right now, given the fact that this is a temporary position. If I'm finding myself looking for opportunities with this organization or for other organizations, maybe for a referral at the end of my current project, I really want to show some amazing work to be able to put that right foot forward and get a referral or get a job that really says, yes, you did fantastic work while you were here. And as much as I think those things are beneficial and important in a regular full-time role, I find them especially critical in a temporary role, in the position that I'm in now. I'm not extremely concerned about this position because I have also set myself up. I feel very fortunate that I've saved throughout my career. I've saved enough money so that if I find myself in a dangerous position, kind of like this one, I can kind of stay afloat for a while I look for a new role. And I think that's very important. Something people don't consider enough is the importance of saving up and making sure that you put yourself in a financial position where if you're out of work for a while or something comes up, some sort of exceptional health situation, that you're able to take care of yourself and your needs during that time. And I know I've touched a bit in the past on finance and the importance for me of saving and investing, but this is just another example of how important it can really be. Another step I'm going to take to try to optimize my chances of having a long-term opportunity at the end of this temporary contract is reaching out to friends and connections and asking those friends and connections of any opportunities they may know. And worst case scenario, I might find myself doing unpaid work for a while to kind of show my ability to deliver to a certain task or to a certain project. Now, that is by no means an ideal situation, and the chances that I'll find myself in an unpaid role are pretty slim, because if I don't find myself in a paid role, I may be focusing that time on trying to build something myself, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what that might look like as well. So, what am I going to do at the end of a role? Would I accept an unpaid role? I might, but I have a couple of different ideas for possibilities that might be preferable. Obviously, finding a great role that I can really enjoy for an organization would be fantastic for me, especially a remote role. I love that idea. And so hopefully something along those lines will work out by the end of this temporary contract. But another thing that comes to mind for me is doing some work and doing some learning for myself. One of the things that I'm thinking about, as I say, working for myself. I obviously don't have a system set up quite yet where I'd be stable and working for myself and be able to earn enough to be able to support myself, but I'd love to be able to continue to build on what I've already done, to be able to continue to make videos, to continue to make website articles, to continue to make t-shirt designs. I've been trying to do more and more of the t-shirt designs lately. I'm not an expert designer. I don't have graphical design experience or expertise. However, I've been trying to take fun, relevant quotes and things that I enjoy in terms of meaning and purpose and integrate those into some of the Teespring shirts I've been working on. So I took some time recently and created a couple of different designs, but I want to take some more time and create a lot more designs on Teespring or on other websites to be able to share that with people who may be interested in those designs, to build myself towards a position where I'll be able to support myself. Of course, it's not ideal to find myself in a position where the end may be coming sooner rather than later and I don't have my own thing built up yet, but I feel fortunate enough that I kind of set up at least the base outline of some things like that t-shirt website. And of course, I also have something going on in terms of that work situation. So if I found myself looking at the end of this project, if I didn't find something paid, I'd probably spend a lot of time creating more content, doing live stream, making TikToks, making blog posts, making those t-shirt designs, and creating any other form of content I feel I might enjoy, or go in a whole new direction in terms of maybe learning something like graphic design. I think picking up skills during this time and during that time would be especially crucial. And there's a couple of skills that come to mind for me. I'm putting together a blog post, and you may have already seen it, on davekmedia.com about some edX courses that I really valued and helped me get started in project management. If you wanted to check that out, that's davekmedia.com/project-management. Makes it easy for you. But those are some of the things that I think about, whether it's going back to school and earning an advanced degree, maybe a master's or another degree, or potentially just taking these courses online, whether it's edX courses or other websites that allow you to do free training, or maybe low-cost training that you can get a certification for that you could then utilize to take that to that next potential employer. You'll see I touched on in that blog post how the training that I took in project management really helped me get my first job in project management. I spoke to my interest in the field. I spoke to how my previous experiences kind of tied into project management, but more than anything else, I was able to speak to this training that I'd done, the interest that I had, that I picked up this training on the side on my own, where I'd learned about some of these different concepts like agile project management and learning kind of waterfall methodologies and other approaches to project management, which helped me demonstrate that I knew about the field and that I was very interested in the field. So of course, in addition to actually going back to a physical school, I would seriously consider doing more training courses like those, spending more time learning edX courses or Coursera courses or other courses I can find online. Another thing I find very interesting is Google, Facebook. They have advertising specialist courses, and I find it very interesting, the copywriting and kind of how some of those advertisements can be designed. It's a really interesting concept as to how those are put together. So that might be cool to take in terms of training courses as well. We'll have to see what things look like if that time comes, if I find myself with a lot of time to put towards those training courses. Now, of course, another key challenge here is time and availability. And I'm finding this role is taking quite a bit of my time. I don't have a lot of time to be doing these other things while I'm working this job. Sometimes I'm on calls that can take me later into the evening, or sometimes I'm doing work on the weekends, which is never really ideal, but it's work that needs to be done. And so I'm taking the time and doing what needs to be done, and I can worry about those other things in that time that still exists, that free time, I can do those trainings or I can work on building those other things. But I can also dedicate more time to training or learning or building my own thing as things slow down if I find myself without work for a while. I'd obviously love to do a lot of that work right now and kind of build myself to a point where I'll be comfortable and stable if things were to end on this front, but I'm just going to make the most of the time that I have and try to work as much as I can on a lot of these different things. Dave, if you found yourself without a role at the end of this, where are you going to live? 3 thoughts come to mind for me, 3 different locations, all based on different variables. For me, the first one is, where are the job opportunities? Where are the potential connections? And I feel like a lot of the work that I've done lately has kind of set me up to work in that San Francisco Bay Area. So it is kind of relevant for me. A lot of the work that I do, helping implement technical solutions from a project management perspective, is relevant to that San Francisco Bay Area. And so I may find myself back in that area if need be, if I find opportunities or connections up there that may lead to job prospects in that area. Another possibility is on kind of the opposite front. If I'm trying to do my own thing, or if I'm still looking for something and can't quite find it, I'd be likely to look at potentially a low cost of living area, somewhere it's far less expensive to live. So that could be somewhere a lot quieter, like a North Dakota, or maybe somewhere in Florida that's a little bit quieter. I'm sure some of these states that I really enjoy, you can find quieter areas as well. And of course, with family as a solution as well. Again, finding myself in these positions with family could be a great way to manage making those costs lower, to make sure that I'm somehow subsidizing my costs. It's kind of like having roommates if I found myself in the San Francisco Bay Area. I feel like that's really the only way for me to be able to get by in the San Francisco Bay Area, and also a cost-effective way for me to consider in really any area, whether it's North Dakota or somewhere completely different. So those are my initial thoughts about this situation. I really want to kind of document my journey and share my journey with you, as this is the first time ever I'm going to be without a permanent job. Now, I've always wanted to be able to share my own adventures with you, to build my own business, or to work for myself, but I think I'm still quite a ways away from finding myself in that position. So we'll have to see how things go on this front, but just kind of kicking off this journey of some risk in terms of employment, I want to share with you my thoughts as we go. What other thoughts would you like to hear me cover on this topic? Do you feel like I've spoken to all your points, your thoughts, your concerns when it comes to this issue? Thanks so much for being a part of the fun with me today. And if you haven't already, consider clicking that subscribe button and ringing the bell to stay informed of what happens with my life. Until next time, play on. With you here, we'll see what you think, and maybe I'll continue to document throughout the progress. Honestly, it's a scary position to be in. I haven't really... This current role puts me in the position of, if things go perfectly well until, whether it's going back to school, maybe earning an advanced degree, how some of those advertisements